Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Take. It's that time of the week where I go over my top 10 college football games of the week. So let's get started with another top five matchup with five Indiana versus two Ohio State, who are 13.5 point favorites, the noon Fox game. Well, hopefully, this matchup of top five teams lives up to the other top five matchups we've had this season. Indiana's coming off a bye week, and this is their chance to prove themselves since they have a week straight at the schedule. I can see this going two ways. So coming off a bye week, I can see the Hoosiers starting off fast, and then the Buckeyes' talent, you know, helps them with the comeback, and then Indiana take over. Or I can see the moment being too big for Indiana, and they just have to play catch up the whole time. For Indiana, if they lose a close game, I still think there's a chance they can make the playoffs. If they lose the game by a lot, or I would say even by at least just 14 points, maybe two possessions, more than two possessions, basically, then they're probably out. Um, for for Indiana, this is the last chance, so they gotta make something of it. But I feel like my second scenario is probably what will happen, and therefore I'll take Ohio State to win the game. I have them winning 31-20. Number two, you got 14 BYU versus 21 Arizona State, who are 3 point favorites. 3:30 ESPN game. The magical season for the Cougars is now on life support after getting upset by Kansas. This time, the ball literally didn't bounce their way like it has all season. Over the last two games, BYU's offense has not been playing well, specifically in the red zone. For most of the season, they've been good. They've been good in the red zone. But for some reason, the last two games, it just hasn't quite been there. Um, Settling for field goals is not going to get the job done. Now, BYU does need to win this game in order to most likely make it to the Big 12 title game, and then for Arizona State to have to win it. So big Big 12 championship / playoff implications for this game. Arizona State's coming off huge momentum after going to Kansas State, and I know the final score didn't indicate it, but they basically whipped them. And They know what they're doing on offense and defense. They know what type of team they are. You're going to get the same thing from them mostly every single week. Um, if Arizona's like I said, if Arizona State can win out, then they will probably make the Big 12 title game, depending on what Iowa State does. Based on the way these two teams are playing, the Sun Devils are the logical pick in this game. However, I will say, with Arizona State getting a huge win and BYU coming off a shocking loss, the Sun Devils could be due for a letdown, and the Cougars could come in with better intensity and focus and pull off the big win. Now, I'll pick the Sun Devils to win this since it's the logical pick, but be aware of that scenario I just explained earlier. Also, for tiebreaker purposes, if teams can't be decided based on head to head victory or win percentage against common opponents, then this is the next tiebreaker. It says win percentage against the next highest placed common opponent in the standings based on the record and all games played within the conference, proceeding through the standings. So hopefully it is to get to Rule 3 there, but we'll see. I have Arizona State winning 24-20. Number three, you got 19 Army versus 6 Notre Dame, who are 14.5 point favorites, primetime NBC game. For Army, this is a huge game. If they win, then I think the committee may move them ahead of Boise State, since they would have a ranked win, and Boise State right now currently doesn't. I guess they do have the UNLV win, but assuming UNLV is going to lose at some point, and then they probably are not going to have a ranked win. For the Irish, they know they must win out in order to remain in the playoffs. I think it's surprising that they're 6 seed as it is, with after a home loss to NIU early in the season. Um, I think this is a game where Army playing the weakest schedule in the country may come back to bite them. I think Notre Dame builds a big enough lead um, that it could be too much for Army to overcome. Although I do think they will not look as bad as Navy did looked against Notre Dame earlier in the year. But I have Notre Dame winning 34-20. Number four, you got Penn State, 11.5 point favorites versus Minnesota through the CBS game. For Penn State, this is the last tricky game based on where the Nittany Lions are ranked. If they suffer a close loss, they may still make the playoffs based on where they're ranked, but it shouldn't be a guarantee since they would have 0 top 25 wins, assuming Illinois lose one more time they follow the rankings. Minnesota has the defense to contain the dynamic rushing attack of Penn State. Therefore, Penn State quarterback Drew Aller will need to make some clutch plays to win this game. I think the Gophers give it their all, but the Nittany Lions survive and keep their playoff hopes alive. I've been winning 20-16. Number five, you got 9 Ole Miss, who are 10 point favorites versus Florida, new ABC game. Ole Miss better be careful. Florida's coming off a big win against LSU, and they played Georgia and Tennessee tough. Florida quarterback DJ Lagway has given the offense a spark this season. However, the Gators' defense needs to step up. Since Ole Miss has a good defense, they need to have Ole Miss in a lower scoring type of game. If Ole Miss turns this into to a shootout, then the Gators will lose automatically. And knowing what's on the line for Ole Miss, I think they will figure out a way to survive and advance. I have them winning 23-17. Number 6, you got Vanderbilt versus LSU, who are 8-point favorites. Primetime SC Network game. LSU goes from being a top 10 team in mid-October to not being a top 25 team anymore. Crazy how time flies. Um, Brian, Brian Kelly is cussing out players on the sideline. The defense is playing awful. It would not shock me if Vanderbilt comes off a bye week, rolls into Death Valley, and gets the win. However, unless it's a big time program like a Bama or something, LSU just doesn't lose night home games very much. So I think they'll finally break their losing streak and get a win here at the winning 31-27. Number 7, you got Pittsburgh versus Louisville, who are 8-point favorites. 4 p.m. ESPN2 game. Both teams were hoping to be ACC contenders, and now both are just trying to avoid an ugly end to the season. Since Louisville gave away the game to Stanford in overtime last week, I expect them to bounce back at home against the Panthers offense with a backup quarterback who's been struggling to put up points. It's a close game that comes down the wire, but Louisville gets the win. I'd win 27-20. Number 8, you got Cincinnati versus Kansas State, who are 9-point favorites. 8 p.m. ESPN2 game. Kansas State watched their Big 12 title chances evaporate last week since they simply just couldn't even just snap the ball for a field goal, among other things. To come off a bye week and to be down 24-0 to Arizona State was just awful. Teams are figuring out that they can just force Wildcats quarterback Avery Johnson to be a pocket passer. They will probably win the game. For Cincinnati, since a win next week is not guaranteed, they could really use this win to make sure they make a bowl game. I think the Wildcats bounce back at home to get the win, but because of their special teams being so sloppy, I'm not super confident in them right now. I have Kansas State winning 21-20. Number 9, you got Wisconsin versus Nebraska, 2.5-point favorites, 3:30 game Big Ten Network. Both teams having big rivals next week. They will be underdogs in, so it's important for both teams to try to get a win here to make a bowl game, especially in Nebraska's case with their streak of not making bowl games, and to start the season 5-2 if they were to collapse it to make a bowl game. That would be horrible. Despite the loss at USC, I felt Nebraska played well. The ball didn't bounce their way, but I think maybe good fortunes will be on their side this time as the Cornhuskers finally get eligible so they don't finish the season on that 5-game losing streak. I have Nebraska winning 20-17. Next, you got 25 Illinois, who are 1-point favorites versus Rutgers, a new Peacock game. Both teams started the season well, but neither had a good month during October. A few weeks ago, I would have taken Illinois to win the game automatically, but over the last 2 weeks, Rutgers is starting to figure things out and they're playing better football. I expect the momentum to continue at home as the Scarlet Knights get close to a win to at least ensure themselves back-to-back seasons with a winning record. I have Rutgers winning 21-19. So hopefully you guys take the time to watch all the games this weekend. There are some good games I even include on there because for my top 10 game policy, you have to be at least a 500 team in order to be on it. And for example, the Colorado-Kansas matchup, Kansas it's not a 5-5 type of team, but they are a really good team despite their 4-6 record. So I think Colorado, despite the way they're playing, has been on upset alert. Is going to be on upset alert. I think there'll be other interesting games like since Kentucky has a good defensive front, maybe they give Texas trouble. Who knows? So just watch out for all the games this week as conference title and playoff scenarios kind of start to unfold even more. Well, thank you very much for listening to my podcast. You all have a wonderful day.